It's my pleasure here on the LarryInFishers.com podcast to welcome Dixie Wooten. Dixie is the head coach and general manager for the new Fishers Freight Indoor Football League team coming to Fishers. They'll start their season March, April of next year. So, Coach Wooten, welcome to Fishers and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, appreciate it, Larry. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be in Fishers. Just being around the community for a while. The other week, and it was great to see. So I'm excited.
Well, the first thing I'd like to do is talk about yourself. You are new to Fishers, and of course, the whole team is new to Fishers. But let's talk about you first. Talk about your long history with the game of football.
Man, I've been around football since I was 3 years old. My brothers, my dad. We all been around football. But I started my coaching career in 2004 at Worthing High School, in Houston. So, I got some high school background in Texas. I got some college background coaching, and I started coaching in the indoor football league in 2012. And my first team was I coached with the Allen Wranglers. And the crazy part about it, the first player I coached was Terrell Owens, the NFL Hall of Famer. So yeah, so been coaching, coaching then, and got a good shot on my first head coaching job in Iowa in 2017 with the Iowa Barnstormers, the former team of Kurt Warner. So got a shot there and had a great career there. Was able to win the championship in 2018. And then went to Tucson with the Tucson Sugar Skulls in the same league. I was the head coach, general manager there. And I got a great opportunity to go to California and be the co-head coach there and for the Bay Area Panthers and for 2 years, and we ended up winning the championship in 2023. And the fun part, Larry, when I heard Fishers was coming in, I did a lot of research on the town and everything like that. So, when they came out, I had a couple of head coaching jobs that did interviews for. I shut them all down because I wanted to make sure that I was available for Fishers. And the crazy part about it is, end up getting this job. So yeah.
Well, that's great. And you just, by the way, I did Terrell Owens. I know nobody would imagine he played in the IFL at one time.
Yes, in 2012, when he was trying to get back in the NFL, he just got off an injury and a great year for the Cincinnati Bengals. He came and he needed some film and things like that, so he came to play for us for half a year.
That's amazing. Well, that's something to put on the resume for sure.
Absolutely.
You did announce three of your assistant coaches. Tell us something about the three assistants you've hired.
Oh man, I think I hired three great coaches. One, his name is Chuck Miller. He's from the Chicago area, man. He's been with me for the last 7-8 years. Man, he's a great guy. He's going to be my assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. What he brings to the table is he's been coaching over 25 years. He understands the men. He understands exactly what they need to be successful. And my defensive back coach and my special team coach is Matt Elam. And Matt Elam was the first round draft pick for the Baltimore Ravens in 2013. Now he's been playing a lot of great football, but now he's ready to be a coach. I had him as my defensive back 1 year, and he understood the game like no other. So it's a pleasure to have him. And the third coach is my son, Dixie Wooten III. Yes, he's my offensive line coach, my offensive coordinator, offensive line coach. He's the one that's tough on me. He never – I can't breathe around him. He let me know when I got to get everything correct. So, having him on board is a great feeling. You get to see your son every day. That's a great feeling.
Well, I'm sure that I've seen that happen. It's funny. I started covering sports. I've done it off and on since 1970, and I've known a lot of coaches, some of them who hired their sons as assistants, and I've seen it work really well, and I've seen it go south. So obviously, you and your son feel like you have the kind of relationship where that will work.
Right. So he's been coaching with me with the Bay Area Panthers. He's been my offensive line coach for the last 2 years, and we won a championship 1 year, and we went 13-3 and was the number one team in the West in that second year. So it's been pretty good.
The indoor football league will certainly be familiar to fans and Fishers because the basic football rules are there. But there are a lot of differences too. It's a 50-yard field. The midfield is the 25-yard line. There are 8 players on each team at any given time. And I think one thing that I noticed watching the game that will be different to some people who are fans of the high school, college, and the pro game is that you've got two people in motion running full scale as soon as that ball is snapped. And that's something you don't, maybe Canadian Football League fans would know that, but in America, that you don't see that too often. Um, I've seen one game in person and a lot of them on YouTube. So tell us a little more other than that, what fans will find different in the indoor football league that they would find that, let's say, going to a local high school or college game?
So it's a very fast game, Larry. Like one thing that you're going to see when you first get in the arena is, the speed of the game. Like the speed of the game is like no other. With the two high motion guys, that make the game just go super fast. Of course, and also the field is small, but the atmosphere is probably one of the best atmospheres in the world. You have music playing, you have the fans going crazy, you have just the whole atmosphere of indoor football is amazing. The great thing about it, especially in the indoor football league, we have a lot of different rules, but also, we still, we still have the rules placed in where you understand the game from a fan perspective, looking at the outdoor game. We still run the football. You still got to play great defense, things like that. So, it's not an entire different league where you won't get a good understanding, but everything that's different is fun for a fan. I guarantee that when you see your first game, you're going to love it.
Well, yeah, I've been to one game and I felt that as well. I'm going to talk more about that later, but I want to ask you about this because I don't know if you've had a chance to do this before. Maybe this appealed to you. You're building a new team from scratch. Now, I've heard that's both a blessing and a curse because I'm going to have an open tryout November 2nd where people can come and try out for the team. But I'd like you to explain, if you can, the challenges and the opportunities of building a whole new expansion franchise from scratch here in Fishers.
So the good thing about it, Larry, is like being with the Fishers Freight and having a great organization with Jim as the owner and Larry as the president. We have a brand new team, but we have a front office that understands sports. They've been in the hockey business for a long time, so they understand exactly what we need off the field, like medical, things like that, the football field, the things that we need to practice, things like that. So, but the great thing about it is, now you get to go into a brand new arena. You get to go into a brand new arena where you can put your own furniture in. You can, build your own locker rooms. You can build your own weight rooms and things like that. But and also having a new team, now you get the brand new bells and whistles. You get the brand new helmets, brand new footballs, brand new shoulder pads, everything that you need to be successful, brand new. The only different part is, Larry, is the recruiting. When you're a new team, now you got to recruit all new players. So now you got to, usually when you have another team, when you have a team for a couple of years, you can get players from that same team. But now you got to go get all 38 new players.
Well, that's interesting because I want to ask you about that as well. As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, every IFL player has a 1-year contract, correct?
Yeah. Yes,
So
absolutely.
anybody can move at any time. You don't have multi-year contracts, but I understand some teams try to give opportunities to their players, to do other things in the community. And if a player likes living in a certain place, they tend to stay. And I assume you're trying to build that culture here.
Absolutely, and the good thing about Fishers, it's a great area, and the cost of living is not crazy like other places. So guys can come here and move here. Great opportunity for jobs here and things like that. So they can stay in the off season and be around for a while. So that's what we're trying to build here and let these guys know about here. But and that's the thing, and that's why some teams also. But when it comes to recruiting, like they become free agents after 1 year, but they are still restricted free agents, so they still have a tie. They still tied to their old team. So we got to talk to them. We got to try to, talk to the team to get them away from there. But it's possible, and that's what we're gonna do for some players.
It's been widely reported, no secret, that players in the IFL are paid anywhere from $250 to $500 a game. So nobody's going to get rich playing in this league, but
Absolutely.
as you kind of alluded to, some of these players have other jobs or the teams give them opportunities to make money on the side. So how does that work? And you want to keep the players in a certain place. You've got to give them the kind of opportunities that would again, one of those low cost of living. If you lived in California, I'm sure you can see the difference. But obviously, you want to give people opportunities to make a living wherever they happen to be.
Absolutely. So, what about this league, Larry? Is it's all about opportunity to go to the next level. So, some of these guys, been to college. Some of these guys been to the NFL before. So first and foremost, they come here for the opportunity to get film to go to the next level. So that's what we try to get them the most. We try to make sure we take care of their housing, we take care of the food, we take care of everything they need to be successful to try to make it to the next level. Now, some of the guys that like played 3 or 4 years, now they're looking for more of a home. So now that's when we, offer them situations of, looking for housing, so after the season they can move into housing, or they can look for, opportunities with sponsors to get jobs after the season. So, once that happens, you're here for the first 2 years to try to get to the next level. But if that doesn't happen, then now we're trying to build a situation where you can make Fishers home.
Yeah, you mentioned the next level, and I wondered about that. I saw some anecdotal evidence that some players, if they can prove themselves, end up in the Canadian Football League. Are there other places where these players can try to get to?
Absolutely. Like, for example, like a couple of my guys when I was in the Bay Area Panthers, we got like 7 guys to the CFL. So, it's possible these guys, the CFL calling these guys every other day, trying to see what they're going on, watch their film and things like that to go to the next level. So in the whole entire league in the indoor football league, it's like probably like 20 to about 40 guys go to the next level.
One thing I noticed, and people watching the game when they come see them next year will see this, that yes, you have walls, you don't have sidelines, you have
Right.
walls, and they're heavily padded. Sometimes the players bounce right off of it. But what I also saw in a game in person and watching on television is these players are going full speed. Sometimes they just catapult over the walls. So if you're in the first row seat, you just need to be prepared, don't you?
Absolutely. Like some people love them front row. They want to catch the ball and catch a player. But the rule is, Larry, you got to throw the player back, but you can keep the football. And yeah, so that's the rule. So when the player go over, throw him back in, but you can keep the football. So other than that, Larry, it's a fast paced game. So you have to, as a fan, you got to keep your head on the swivel. You can't be, looking at your phone in that front row because it can get dangerous if you're not paying attention.
Well, you're right. You're in a quality organization, Jim Hallett and Larry McCray. And one of the first things I interviewed Larry McCray about the football team when it was first announced, and that was the first thing he told me. He said, "Well, if the ball ends up in the stands, you can keep it." And that's not true in every football league. So that is one you mentioned that, and that's one part. One thing I noticed as well, watching and seeing this a game in person, is that in the IFL you don't use like radio signals in the NFL and some college teams. You don't use signals. The coaches are like right on the field with the team. So you just give the quarterback or the defensive captain the play, and the play go, you just give it to them verbally. And I just wonder, you've been on that field before doing that job. I wonder, has it ever happened that the play ended up close to you and you had trouble getting out of the way?
Oh, absolutely. It happened plenty of times where it's to a point that you, as a coach, you still got to work out, Larry, because if somebody catch an interception or running your way, you got to jump on the wall. You got to do whatever it takes to get off of it. So get away from the player. So I didn't saw coaches jump over the wall before. Even myself, I jump on the wall. I had to stand up on the wall because I rather hurt myself jumping over the wall than get pummeled by some players. So yeah, it happened to me a few times.
Another rule you don't see in football elsewhere, there are field goals and extra points in the IFL, but your goalposts are much closer together than you'll find in other leagues. And one thing I thought was interesting, and I didn't see it happen that often. Maybe you can tell me more often this happens. But if you kick off on a kickoff and the ball ends up between the uprights and above the crossbar, you get 2 points. Now the other team still gets the ball, but you get 2 points. It does happen every now and then if you have a really good kicker, so that could be a big advantage for you.
Absolutely, because in this game, it's all about scoring points, Larry. So, they put a rule in this past season that, you can kick a deuce at any time. So if you kick a kickoff and like you said, hit the between the goalposts, it's 2 points. And, the crazy part about it is a lot of teams trying it. So, if you kick the ball off like 10 times and you hit, like 4 deuce, all of a sudden they give you 8 points. That's a whole touchdown in the Cooper Walker version. So, it's a lot of coaching strategy behind it, but it can be a weapon as well. So, the kickers that's coming to the tryouts, work on kicking that deuce, because if you can kick that deuce, that'll give you a great chance of making the team.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about the weather. They're all indoor games, so
Exactly.
practice your kicking. Just overall, I mean, that's one aspect of it. Just how important as a coach putting a team together? How important is that kicking game for you?
It's huge because, again, it's football, so special teams is a big factor in football. We have to make sure that we go over special teams every day, Larry. So kicking field goals, kicking extra points, kickoffs, everything. We got to make sure it's in place to make sure that we don't lose the game that way.
One thing you have in the IFL, I didn't see it very often, but this goes way back to the old days of college football. You have drop kicks. Talk about what a drop kick is and how you might use it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, Larry. Say it again one time, Larry. It went in
Yeah,
and out.
the drop kick where you just
Yeah.
walk back and just kick the ball. I mean, the drop kick is a way you can try to score some points, but how often do you see it used in the IFL? I've seen it used very sparingly.
Larry, this was a tough one for me right here because we lost a game by a drop kick last year. Yeah, so we was up 46-25, Larry. Let me tell you how this went. We was up 46-25. And we played against Northern Arizona. They onside kicked us. They got it. They went forward, kicked the deuce. And they scored do a drop kick, so that's 8 points. And then they kicked the deuce, so that's 10 points. They came back and kicked another onside kick, got it. They kicked another drop kick for 2 more points, and then kicked the deuce for the game winner. So the drop kick gave them 4 points in them two drives, and they was able to win the game like that. So again, if we get a kicker that can kick the deuce and the drop kick, yeah, we got a real weapon.
That's really something. I mean, you have to go back to the old days of college football to see drop kicks used.
Yes.
It's fun to see that. It really is. It was fun for me to watch it. I want to dovetail something you already said because, as you mentioned, the Indoor Football League is certainly known for the wide open offense. But I had a chance to watch the championship game this year, which was on the CBS Sports Network. Most of your games are on YouTube, but this one's on the CBS Sports Network. And what I mean, even though you're known for this wide open offense where you run the ball, some teams run the ball better than others, but it's a passing game for the most part offensively. And what I found is that the Arizona and Massachusetts teams are playing each other, and that team from Arizona, I mean, they really won that game on special teams and defense. When you watch that game, I mean, they kind of physically took over the game early on, and Massachusetts never recovered. So even though you have this wide open offense, the defense can make a difference between winning and losing.
Absolutely, Larry. So so it's a couple of leagues out there. So the Arena Football League, it's all about throwing the football. So it's hard to play defense in the AFL. But in the Indoor Football League, our league, you can play real defense. You can run coverages, you can run all types of different schemes. So you have to on offense, you got to come to play. You got to understand what the defense is doing to you, or you can get somebody can play some great defense, and that's what Arizona did in that championship game. They came with a great defensive game plan and was able to shut Massachusetts down.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that game, and like you said, your league is known for wide open, but it's not an all passing game by any means. You had a couple of teams that ran that ball very effectively during the season.
Right. Well, in Bay Area, we was the number 2 rushing attack in the league. So in like I said, Larry, in this game, the Indoor Football League, it's just like the outdoor game. You got to play defense and you got to run the football to open up the pass. Once you do that, if you, like I say, what they say in the old days, you pack your defense and you pack your run game in the bag and put it on the bus with you. You got a chance to win. And that's the thing about this league. Most just a fun fact, Larry, most teams that like the top 2 teams in rushing and defense basically win your championships. So so that's important to have a good running game in this league.
I just remember when Jimmy Johnson won all those championships in Dallas, his players said he started every practice with special teams and ended
Yeah.
every practice with special teams. And you talked about how that cost you in a game, and things can move quickly. So this it's good to see all. You really, as a coach, have to look at all of the facets of the game, and you can't just concentrate on one thing. Even though the offenses are wide open, it's not one dimensional by any means.
Oh, absolutely not. Like like you can come in, you can win a game on offense, you can win a game on defense, but you can also win a game on special teams. Just like I broke it down to you, that game that unfortunately we didn't win that game. But in this league, it's football. It's like outdoor football. You have to be strong on all three phases. As the head coach, we gotta I gotta walk in and watch film on every phase because it's important. You can have a great day on offense, but have a bad day on special teams and lose a football game. So that's something that we harp on every day. We're gonna do special teams every day because it's important.
My daughter's family lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I was visiting there a few months ago, and my son-in-law, his dad, and my 3-year-old grandson, we all went to an IFL game in Sioux Falls. And I want to talk about something you already mentioned because as general manager, I'm sure this is of interest to you. What I noticed about just being there at the game is that there's always something going on. I mean,
Right.
before the game, timeouts, halftime, even some. I couldn't stay to the end of the game. My 3-year-old grandson couldn't take the whole game, but we did enjoy. One thing I noticed and enjoyed very much is that the team there, and I'm sure this is true throughout the league. You always want something there to entertain the fans, and that's I think
Absolutely.
where you don't have to worry about putting ice. I think like the hockey teams do, you have to put the ice down and all that. You always have something going on, and I think that's a focus of your league to keep the fans going and entertained throughout the game.
Absolutely. So in Fishers, Larry, what we're going to do is like we're going to have a pregame tailgate. So we're going to start the entertainment right away. We're gonna have a pregame tailgate. Also, we're gonna have a little celebration, pregame celebration where we might have a couple of bands out there, local bands, and we come out there in front of the fans come in front of the arena, have fun, and then when you walk in, the music is going to be playing. They have in-game promotions, things like that, where at the first quarter or after a touchdown, a sponsor might pay for a game where it entertain the fans and things like that. So from the before the kickoff all the way to the end of the game, it's going to be something fun to do.
Yeah, and there'll be plenty of room outside the stadium or outside the event center because there's a lot of room to have those kind of things, and there'll be restaurants and things to do nearby. So that dovetails right into what the atmosphere that's being created for this event center and for your team as well. Do we know yet when the 2025 schedule will come out?
Like the lead is working on that now, Larry. So I give it a couple of weeks to like a couple of weeks, and we'll know something going on. So say a couple of weeks to a month, we had a schedule out.
Do you know which teams you'll play, or is that up to the league and you don't know until the schedule comes out?
We know because we in the Eastern Conference. So we'll play against Green Bay, we'll play against Quad Cities, we'll play against Iowa, we'll play against Sioux Falls, we'll play against Tulsa, and we'll play against Massachusetts. So those are teams that we know for sure. And Jacksonville, that's the teams we know for sure that we'll play because they're in our division.
So you'll play a selected number in the other division, but all the teams in your own division. That's the way it
Yeah,
works.
yeah. So it's a 16 game season. So we have eight teams in our division. So we're gonna probably play seven games against each other. Well, 14 games against each other home and away, and then we might have a one game against the West division over there too. So we got to see what that look like.
Well, that's it's a lot of fun, and so normally the season starts in late March. Is that correct?
Right, right.
So we'll know soon when our first home game will be and when we can start Fisher's Freight football. Anything you would
Absolutely.
like? I'm sorry, go right ahead. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
no.
you.
I was just answering you.
Asking me what? I'm sorry.
No, I say I was just answering you when you was like saying like the first home game.
Okay, the first home game should be exciting. I wanted to just kind of end this up with, I tried to ask some questions here to get people acquainted with you and get an idea what the team's going to be like and what it's like to go to a game. Anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
Larry, it's gonna be fun. At the end of the day, having a first year team. Now we get to come in this as a whole community. We get to come in as the Fishers Freight. We get to come in, open the building together. We get to have fun together. We get to just make a stamp on this league together. One thing about it, being a GM and the head coach, it's all about It's all about making sure our fans understand that they are the most important. Our sponsors are the most important. So we're going to do everything that we possibly can to give them a show to let them keep coming back. All the kids, all the, just anybody in the community. So when we put on the show, it's for Fishers because, again, we're going to have all eyes on us because, everybody's going to watch and see how Fishers, the team is. So when we come in there and we sell that crowd out, we sell the stadium out that first game. Now people know that we're here and we're here to stay. So, the good thing what Jim and Larry is doing, we're not building this thing for a year or two. We're building this thing for the next 10, 15 years. We want to be around Fishers. So for us to be around, we got to make sure that we're talking to every fan. We got to make sure we're shaking hands, and we got to make sure that we're giving a good environment for our community to love.
And it should be noted that the Indoor Football League has been around for longer than any of the other leagues like it. Some have come and gone. Indoor Football League has remained in business. So I would say from everything I have seen, the future looks good for the league.
Absolutely. So the Indoor Football League been around since 2009. Now it's 2024. It's the longest lasting league in indoor football. And the thing about it is the ownership is getting stronger. The coaching is getting stronger. Our commissioner, Todd Tryon, is doing a great job of, bringing great teams in. And now with the ownership being strong, they're bringing a great front office in on every team. So now the entertainment is better. This year we got a sponsor with Adidas when it comes to uniforms. So now corporate sponsoring is getting better. Now, they're working on TV things and, it's different, TV that you can watch TV deals that we have in place. So it's getting bigger and bigger, and I think this league is going to last for a long time.
Well, you have very solid ownership here, the Indy Fuel ownership with Jim Howlett and Larry McQuarrie. And yes. I remember doing that interview with Larry McQuarrie and our mayor, Scott Fadness, and I told the mayor, I said, well, now, Mayor, going all the way back to when you were town manager and elected mayor, did you ever imagine you would be overseeing a professional football team in Fishers? And he said, absolutely not. But he's very happy to see it happen, not something he expected. So we'll be seeing a lot of Dixie Wooten in the months ahead. And certainly as the season, there is no preseason, by the way, you start off right away with the games that count for good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we have a week camp. We have a week training camp. And then that next week, we're getting ready for that first game of the season.
So we had to get started right away. Well, Dixie Wooten, a pleasure to talk to you. We'll be, I'm sure, talking to you several times in the months ahead, and certainly when the season comes up. It's good to feel your energy. I think you can feel it just talking to you. And thanks for accepting my invitation to be on the podcast.
Absolutely, Larry. Now, I appreciate you for having me on because, again, with guys like you, Larry, you give us a platform to, express how great our lead is for our community and our players. So, again, anytime you want me on, Larry, let me know, and I'm here for you.
Dixie Wooten, thank you again. Pleasure talking to you.